Shannon here with Shannon Sizzlen Stampers, and I'm coming to you today, super excited again, from my Southern Colorado stamp studio. And today I have a great video for my community class and super excited about it. We are going to be using the Kangaroo and Company set. It's so adorable and it's got a lot of good uses. Anytime you want to just hop over and send a little message in the mail to someone. We're also going to pair it with this basket from the super cute Springtime Joy. I think I've been calling this Easter Joy. Springtime Joy stamp set. So, those are the pieces that we're using today. So if you're interested in getting those, you can pick those up. You can always find me at sizzlenstamper.stampinup.net and shop with me using March's host code XYSZKURQ. So we'll be going ahead and playing today with this. So let me first start and show you what you're going to have in your kit today. There is one thing that I can't confirm because I am waiting to see if it's going to arrive today. If not, you will have a variety of whatever little embellishment or gemstone that I find, whether that's a butterfly, a round, a faceted, whatever. But you'll have some little gemstones. Also in your kit, you're going to have a, nope, I didn't grab an envelope, but you're going to have a vanilla note card and envelope. You will have some assorted piece of designer series paper that's in a shade of pink. You're going to have 2 pieces of crumb cake. So you're going to have a larger one, and that's the one we're going to be stamping kangaroos on. And you're going to have a smaller one, and that's going to be the base for our mini basket, which is super cute. You're going to have a piece of vanilla that we're going to be stamping baskets and the sentiment on for the card. You're going to have a piece of this. I love this. You've got to get this before it's gone. Rococo Rose Linen Scallop Ribbon. Love, love, love. A medallion circle in Rococo Rose. Now that punch is retired, but I just love it, so I've used it. A little skinny 1/2 inch strip, 1/2 inch by 8.5 strip of the crumb cake, and then a various type of wood or brown paper, and it's going to look like this. So this is made using our Scallop Tag Topper Punch, which is right here. So that is the punch that we've used to punch on either side. I believe this is 7 inches by 2, and then you punch each end. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. And today we're going to start with the making of the basket, and then we'll do all of our fun stamping stuff at the end. All right, so let me get a few things organized here. Those are being used for the basket. But, all right, so first of all, we're going to be scoring. Now, I'm going to show you again my scoring tool. This is what I like to use for scoring. And I have pre-scored my pieces, but they're very simple. So for your DSP, you're going to score it. And the DSP, you want to be very, very careful when you go to score, because if you score too hard, you will actually rip right in front of that. Oops, and I just scored it wrong. 2.5. And then I like to flip it just so I don't have to remember extra measurements, and then 2.5 again. So just like I say, be very careful or you'll rip right through that DSP. Now, the other tool that you could use is if you have a trimmer, a paper trimmer that has a scoring blade, you can line those up and use that. But I want to just show you an alternative, couple of alternatives in case you don't have either of those 2 tools yet, which I highly recommend because I use them a lot. But you can just use a ruler and either a bone folder or the back edge of a pair of scissors. And in essence, you're going to be scoring this. I'm not going to do it here because I've already scored the box to save a little bit of time. But in essence, to score, you line up the ruler where you want it, just on the other side, and then you just run your scissor back along there to create that score line. So those are some easy methods that you can use. You can also use something else that's a hard straight edge if you don't have a ruler handy. A butter knife, the back side of a butter knife will work as well. if you're going to be doing much box building or scoring, I highly recommend that you have these tools because they'll make your life easier. So just to show you on this is my other sample. We've scored at 2.5, flipped it, scored at 2.5. On this box, on the short side, you're scoring at 1/2 inch, flipping it, scoring again at 1/2 inch. And then on the long side, you're scoring at 1.5 inch, flipping it, scoring at 1.5 inch. Now these round circles are the edges that you're going to take your scissors and cut up just to the next score. From the edge of the outside into that score line, don't cut past it, into the score line. This is a super easy box because it comes together and you don't even have to remember which tabs or pieces to cut out because this one doesn't, it actually doesn't require you to cut out. And I should have burnished those before I cut them. Got ahead of myself there. I like to burnish them, burnish those folds really well so that they will move exactly how you want them to. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and flip up those other ends and burnish those down. And we will do the same. I'm going to put that wood pattern on the outside of my box. Get everything nice and crisp and burnished. Okay. The last thing we're also going to do, well, I have my bone folder here, is that little 1/2 inch strip. So what you want to do with that is you're going to take it and you're going to hold it with your thumb, and you don't want to necessarily do right on the edges. Leave 1 inch, 1.5 inches, but in the center section, you just want to kind of create a curl. You see how easy that was? That bone folder just helps break down those fibers. You don't want to do it too much, but you want to just break those fibers down a little bit, and that will give you a nice curved handle because this is going to be the handle of our little basket. All right, let me move those scoring pieces out. Actually, let me lay them down here really quick so that there can be a good shot of the scoring measurements for you. All right. So, and if you need to, you can pre-mark your paper with pencil if that's easier for you, especially if you don't have a scoring tool of sorts. All right, so we're going to do our box up. And for that, I'm going to use a bit of our tear tape. And this is in essence how you want it to go. You want to fold it. So you really, in fact, I think I'm going to switch and not use tear tape. I'm just going to use the seal. But you can use whatever you want. But you just really need a tiny little bit of adhesive. Uh-oh. Okay. Because this corner is all that we are worrying about catching right there. For the moment, okay? So you see how you're bringing those corners in so that that middle fold goes in and then the outside corners adhere. So you have a little box like so. And clearly I didn't get my measurement. Somewhere I'm off slightly. This is not going to show, but if it really worries you, you can go back and trim it down. This is eventually going to go right in here to create that basket part. Nope, like this. The outside edges are going to be on the outside. That's what I did. Somewhere my scoring was off, but it will work. It's just not going to be perfectly aligned. So make sure you do your scoring properly, because if it's, you may want to come over maybe 6/8 on your inches. So one more notch past 1/2. I thought I'd done 1/2 before. All right, so now we're going to put the adhesive. The biggest part of our adhesive is going to go in this center part, the ends of that tab with the fancy holes. So that's where you're going to want that to go. And go ahead and put some in the center bottom, and that will just keep that box in place as you put everything else together. So, whoop. I didn't get enough adhesive on my edges. So really get that adhesive on the edges so that when you pull it up, because it only has a little bit of cardstock to stick to, right? Only has a little bit of cardstock to stick to. Okay, so that is the premise right there. So now you have this little box inside of the tab, and I'm sorry, yours will look better because you're going to pay attention and you're going to do a little bit more over than a 1/2 inch on either. A smidge over, if you can measure that. On my scoring tool, I just used a 1/2 inch. Maybe a little squeeze over on one side would have been good. So like 6 on the one side, even if you did 1/2 on the other, would probably make the difference in where this basket lies. And it would be coming up to right there. It could just be that I didn't get it scored properly. And so I apologize for that. But like I say, there are never any mistakes. So now we're going to do the handle. You want to make sure you have some good adhesive, or you can use glue dots, are fantastic for this. You're going to pop that handle in from the outside and lay it down on the adhesive right there. And then you're going to just do the same thing on the other side. And this is where you can determine how long. I've given you plenty of cardstock, so you can determine how long you want the handle. The other thing, that this little straight cardstock that we did not curl with the bone folder at those ends, it helps to come down, and unfortunately you're not going to be able to see, I don't think, inside with my camera angles, but it helps to come down there and provides a little bit more stability. So I've got a good inch down on the insides of that. All right, so now we have the basis of our cute little basket. Super cute. Yep, I scored this wrong, see? All right, so we've got the cute little basket. Now, you can look at this and decorate it however you want. It is designed for this medallion to be a focal point, but whether you choose to have your medallion be on the side like so, or if you want to help alleviate some of that crazy cutting I did, you can make the front of your basket look like this. So it's really up to you and how you want to design your basket. I love the way the wood trim looks, and it provides the handle. So I might go ahead and make my basket the front end like this. Okay, so that is the basket. All right. Now we're going to just do the bases on the card, and then we're going to go do the fun, all the fun. So your pink, you're just putting a little bit of adhesive, and this is cut. The note card is 3 by 5. So the paper, the designer series paper, is just cut down 1/4 inch. So it's 2 3/4. I'm going to measure that. Might be might be 3 1/2. Yeah, 3 1/2. So it's 3 1/4, and then 4 3/4 is the layer measurement for that. All right, now set that aside, and now comes to the fun part. To make it go a little faster, I have pre-stamped these for the video. So I just used my black Memento ink. I have layered up my Kangaroo and baby Kangaroo and stamped them right there side by side. The basket I've stamped twice, and hopping by just to say hi. Those are on Very Vanilla. So some things I want you to remember before you just cut wild. Cut this top half off of the crumb cake because you may wish to layer with that. And then you're going to want to cut your saying out to where it's kind of straight and even as much as possible with your, this is where I use my straight edge scissors. Okay, so we're going to end up layering that together. But before we do that, after you've stamped these images, the next thing that we are going to do, I should use my silicone mat there apparently. So we're going to use my handy dandy watercolor pencils. I'm not necessarily going to watercolor or use a blender glycerin pen with these today, but you can. I just want to use a couple of the browns and probably the pink to give a little bit of definition and shading to my Kangaroo. And when I'm doing animals, I like to do little strokes that are kind of like a quick V. Maybe I will decide to get out my glycerin pen and blend it. We'll see. Just because it creates a little bit of a fur-esque. This is kind of going to be an Australian. They have a red kangaroo. I know, how would I know such a thing? Because I've spent a lot of time at the zoos the last couple of years with granddaughters. But I love kangaroos anyway, and Australia's on my bucket list to visit. So I've used the Cajun Craze to do kind of the reddish, and now I'm going to use my, well, that is crushed curry, but that is not the color I want. Let me get out of my big packet. Yeah, I want the espresso. So this is from our bigger packet. And the espresso is a little bit darker. And so what I'm really doing with it is kind of finding the pieces on here that I think might be hidden and darker from light. And I'm just going in there. Very similar method as how I do my blends. You just get a different effect with pencils. So, excuse me for one moment. I am gonna just hop up and grab one of the blender glycerin pens. Ooh, sorry. So one of the blender glycerin pens so that you can see how that can go together. And these are super easy. If you ever want them, you're more than welcome to contact me. Also in your kit, I stuck in a little coupon. So I'd love to have you, watch my YouTube video, but go join my Facebook page at Sizzlen Stamper Shannon Miller. And I also have a group on there that's Sizzlen Stampers. And I put all kinds of fun projects up all the time. I also, like I said, I stuck you guys in a coupon, so it's good for this month only. And so hopefully you'll check that out and use it and find it to be fun. But that just gives a little bit more dimension to my little kangaroo. And I like that it's not all blended in. It gives the essence of fur. I'm going to take the pink and do some noses and ears and a little light, very light. And I don't even know if on the camera you'll be able to see this. I'm barely shading that tummy pink because I don't really want it to look too pink. Okay. Put that in, blend all that. There is our cute kangaroos. So I'll set those aside. Same thing, now we're gonna just color our basket. Oop, I stuck my espresso. I have to remember because these go into two different kits. So I'm gonna do the baskets. And you're going to be using one basket on the card. And so you may decide that you want to try to cut in here and cut that hand out, which is totally fabulous. Or you can layer it on top, or you can have the basket sitting by the kangaroo, however you want. The other one, what's going to be so cute about this basket is we're going to have the little baby-roo. He's going to be poking out behind the basket, layered on your Rococo Rose Medallion that's going to go on your little mini basket. Okay. So I've given them an initial brown base. Let's go back in. Just give it a little bit different color for texture. That's what I love about blends and coloring, and with either watercolor pencils or our alcohol markers that are called blends. Because you can really create stuff that looks very artistic. And it's super easy. It's just coloring. So I'm going to do a couple different colored eggs. I've chosen to do 2 of the pink just because that is my primary color that we're working with on these projects. We have the Rococo Rose colors. Now I'm just going to go back in there just ever so lightly with the Glycerin Blender Pen. We have several blending items. We have the alcohol markers, which are blends. We have this, which is a Glycerin Blender Pen. And then we have blending brushes now for ink pads. So we have lots of blending going on. And you see, to just clean these in between color, you don't even have to. Even if it looks stained on the glycerin end, it isn't going to carry over to your coloring of eggs. See how I'm just going right from color to color, and it's not, if you're worried, you can brush off in between colors. It's not a bad thing at all to brush off, but it's hardly, I don't have a ton of pencil on these either. All right, so now we've got all those colored. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Let's set those pencils off. All right, and let's look at how we're going to put these things together. So it is going to require a little bit of fussy cutting, and I don't mind fussy cutting, so I hope that that's you. I know some people it's difficult for them with their hands. I love fussy cutting. It's another kind of, it requires your brain to focus enough, but yet overall it's kind of mindless work. So it's very easy to be able to do it and watch TV, or the other great thing about coloring even and cutting is they kind of can help us relax and de-stress a lot of times, because our brain has to focus enough on the cutting or coloring that it kind of takes us out of our own space. And so we can kind of get to relax a little bit better and not be thinking about everything that's worrying us. That's one of my favorite things about paper crafting and stamping, is it's very helpful for me. It helps me unwind and de-stress. So I've cut those baskets out lickety split. Now I'm going to cut my little Roo apart from the big Kangaroo. And you notice that he is open bottom. So leave yourself a little bit along that bottom for adhering him behind the basket. And you can always go back and trim that down a little bit later, should you want to. Like once you know where you're going to kind of position him, if the little peak point for adhering is sticking out or whatever, you can trim that down before you actually glue him into place. When I fussy cut, I tend to like to leave about 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch of my edge paper around there. Not always, and there's no rule on the fussy cutting. It's whatever you like. I just like to leave the edge because I don't want to cut straight on the black ink line, because then I will lose that definition that the stamp outline is providing me. But you can cut pretty, like this one, I'm ending up cutting pretty close. It just depends. And so for me, like I go around and do all my easy cuts. You see that I didn't go down into that tail yet. That is because I will do that in a moment. That's just what's easiest for me. The other thing that will make a huge difference when you do fussy cutting is, you saw me use my big paper scissors for straight edges. And that's always what I do, because you have a nice long straight blade. Our paper snips have a short slightly curved blade. And so that's why I don't use them for straight edge cutting. But that slight blade curve allows you to just get in and maneuver around all of these curves ever so easily. It really is, a lot of times when I find that people are struggling with what we call fussy cutting, a lot of times they're not using a scissor that has a small blade and a curved blade. So those are the two things you want to look at. You don't want your blade to be super long. These blades are about if they're fully opened, I think they're 2 inches, 2.5 inches maybe. And then of course they have that slight curve to the blade. And that's just really what makes the difference in helping you maneuver around the curves. So now I'm going to be able to go back in here and just kind of cut out around my tail. Now, I am going to leave the craft in between his feet, her feet. You can go in there and cut that out if you want. I'm definitely not going to do it. And the same with the baskets, especially for video time purposes, constraints. So now I want you to go ahead and after you've cut your sentiment out, you're going to layer that onto that crumb cake and cut that out. And you can either leave it a true square or you can banner cut it like I just did. So you've got a little saying like so. And then let's go put together the items. Let's first start with our cute little Roo that's going to be popping out. And look how his hands will just look like he's fitting right there to the little basket of eggs. So I think, so I can get a better, because these are tiny, I'm going to use my all-purpose Tombow white glue. If it decides to come out, there it is. I'm going to glue him flat down. Now, to get some dimension, you can always use the dimensionals. I'm going to use it here so you can see it. If you don't have the dimensionals, there will be nothing wrong. You're just going to have a flatter look. And you're going to want, that's the other reason to use the Tombow, you can move them. You're going to want your little Roo up pretty high because the basket is bigger than what you might initially think it is. So I'm going to put that right there. So now, see, he really looks like he's behind it. And you can see with the light on the camera, you even get the shadowing behind there. If you don't have a dimensional, don't worry about it. You can always order those. They're very inexpensive. It's something I highly recommend all my paper crafters have on hand. It's a good basic item. And that is where you will just now come in and glue that wherever you want on your basket, whether you want it on the side or whether you want it on this lower. If you glue it on the lower, I would recommend doing your glue on the box versus the medallion so that you know you have it fit on the, you don't put glue above where it's going to go. All right, so there's our cute little mini basket box. And you'll have some candy, some assorted little candies in your kit as well. I forgot to say that. But you'll have some assorted little candies in your kit to also put in your little basket. All right, so that's the first project. I'll set that aside. Now we're just going to finish our cute little card. And for this one, I'm going to show you what it looks like if you have the dimensionals, big or little, and you can pop up your kangaroo. It will really make him look, you know, so much more lifelike, like he's hopping around town. You can do your card like this if you want. In fact, I think I'm going to, or you can do it up and down. Oh, I forgot one thing for the basket, but we'll go back and do that. It wasn't laying by me. So I'm going to do my card like this because I want that kangaroo. That's why I've missed it, because that piece of ribbon I had is MIA. All right. So then, whether you want to put the basket flat, whether you want your kangaroo holding the basket, I kind of just want my basket kind of hinting at being that, like, maybe she just set the basket down, and I'm going to use it with dimensionals again. Again, if you don't have dimensionals, just glue them flat on the card. It will look amazing, and people will love it regardless. Okay, last step is the saying. And the saying, you can dimensional it, but I'm going to put it flat. For me, I like to have some layers of dimension. And so I like to have some things flat and some things popping out. And I use dimensionals on almost every project that I do. Now, the little butterflies that I had ordered, their butterfly gems, have not arrived. They were on back order for quite a while. I'm still not sure. There is a chance that they will arrive today, but I'm not positive. So you're going to have one little embellishment of some sort. And you're going to put that wherever you want, I'll try to reuse this one here, on your card. You could have the butterfly floating around. If you have a gemstone, you could put it up by the seine. You could put it on your kangaroo, wherever you want. But you'll have a little gem of some sort, a little tiny embellishment of some sort, and that's going to be that. The piece that I forgot was our ribbon. So you're going to put a little ribbon, and it just is designed to go in a quick knot, or not even a full knot, just the first part of one. And if you can hold that as you tie, you will end up getting more of that Rococo rose edge showing. If not, just twist it, just play with it till you get it how you like it. It can go down on the side of your basket. It can go up in the center of your basket. It's just a little bit of an adornment to bring back in that Rococo rose. So there are our two projects. I hope that you really enjoyed them. Again, let me know, reach out if I can be of any help to you. I am here to help you with your paper crafting fun. I hope that you'll finish these projects and then share them. That's the other part that stamping and paper crafting is all about. It's sharing the sunshine and cheer. And it's something that we don't often take enough time to do. So I hope that, especially as we continue finishing off through this pandemic, that we'll each take time to share a little sunshine with our friends and neighbors. All right, signing off for now, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.